Evening, peeps. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. It's pretty late, you know, just coming up to 11:30. I do prefer coming here at this time, though, just because it's nice and quiet. Like you guys know, I have filmed here before, and I still do sometimes in the mornings and afternoons. Like when we film, right? But it is so loud and busy here. Fuck me. You guys obviously won't know that because I have tried my hardest to soundproof the studio and I've got a decent mic. But yeah, it's a bit loud. And I'm going to sound like a moany old man now. The guys opposite me, fucking, it's like they've got they're filming a game show in their studio. It's crazy. It's so loud. And for some reason, they decide to sometimes leave their door open as they're filming. Go figure. Go figure. So yeah, I do prefer coming here at this time. It is pretty late, but I feel like I can concentrate a bit more on what I'm trying to say. All right, before we talk all things boxing, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, I don't know why I pointed like that, but please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the vids. All right, let's start with this one. Top of the tree. Chisora's trainer rejects the idea of fighting Deontay Wilder. Yet makes absolutely no sense, that fight. No sense. And it's just a fight that, it's just why, I think Eddie mentioned it. I mean, has Eddie made a fight in recent times with any fighter on PBC? Like, it rarely happens, right? He's got no relationship with Al Heyman fighters like that. So, yeah, it ain't gonna happen. And I mean, the last thing I want to see Chisora in with is a puncher like Deontay Wilder. It's the last thing I want to see. And there are many reasons why this fight will never happen. But the biggest reason is that Deontay Wilder is the hardest hitting heavyweight there is right now. I don't think anyone can argue that. There are some, I mean, by the way, there are some hard hitting heavyweights, but nothing like Deontay Wilder. And Chisora, punch resistance is gone. Like, I mean, look, credit to him. He's a tough man, and the way in which he took those punches from Joseph Parker, but Joseph Parker isn't considered a big puncher, and he had Chisora all over the place. What would Deontay Wilder do to him? Yeah, makes no sense. And I guess the biggest reason why it makes even less sense is Deontay Wilder has just been beaten by the #1 heavyweight on the planet. One of the best heavyweights ever, some people say. Why is he going to drop down to fight a guy that's not even in the top 20 right now? A guy that's got, 12 losses on his ledger? It makes absolutely no sense. So yeah, if that's Dave Caldwell, and I'm guessing it is Dave Caldwell, then yeah, he's absolutely correct. There's no point in Chisora fighting Deontay Wilder. What's this one? Charles Martin not discouraged by loss. Eyes return for March or April. He ain't coming back March or April. That's wishful thinking, and he shouldn't be allowed to either. I do feel like boxers that have been stopped or knocked out, wherever it is, should be suspended for minimum 3 months. Minimum, no contact whatsoever. So I'm not talking about suspended from a fight. So, you know, you fight in January, you should be allowed to come back in April. No, I'm talking about suspended from even doing sparring or anything. So if he were, for example, thinking about coming back in March, that means he would have to go and start training camp in February. No way. You must be crazy. So yeah, I think he'll be back in the summer. No rush whatsoever. As for not being discouraged by the loss, look, someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. I don't know who was favourite going into that fight. I didn't really follow any bookies or anything like that. So I'm guessing Luis Ortiz was maybe a slight favourite. But he will be upset, Charles Martin, because, look, he had him down twice, Ortiz. And from that point on, you think Charles Martin's going to go on and get the biggest win of his career. And it was the biggest win. I know some people say, look, he won a world title. But let's not forget the circumstances in which he won that world title. So this would have been the biggest win of his career by far. So he'll be upset a bit, but he shouldn't be discouraged because Luis Ortiz is one tough SOB. Can crack. He's still a good boxer, regardless of the jokes made about his age. So he shouldn't be discouraged. And look, there are so many fights out there. So many. I mean, I've said this already, this is the best time to be a heavyweight. I mean, there are guys out there making really good money, not in world title fights. Before it was a case of you had to be in a world title fight or be fighting someone that was a major draw. Not really. People are lapping up the heavyweights right now. So 1 or 2 wins. And I think Charles Martin showed me enough on Saturday night or the early hours of Sunday morning to know, you know, he's a better boxer than he was when he fought AJ. 1 or 2 wins and he'll be back in the mix. And when I say back in the mix, I don't mean fighting for world titles. I mean back in the mix to the point where he's fighting guys potentially in that sort of 10 to 15 bracket. And those are big fights. So he shouldn't be too discouraged, I don't think. British Boxing Board of Control have confirmed that boxing will resume with fans in February. I still don't understand the logic of stopping fights from happening in January, if I'm honest with you. I mean, January was never really a big month for boxing in this country up until a few years ago anyway, but no sense whatsoever. I mean, what was their argument that obviously they didn't want to stretch the NHS, which, look, NHS is being stretched right now, I think that's fair, but they didn't want to stretch it any further by taking medical staff that would be ringside away from maybe doing work in hospitals up and down the country. And I get that, but I mean, come on, man. I mean, football take medical fucking staff all the time. I mean, like, every sport takes medical staff to an extent. Obviously, boxing medically is a bit more serious than football, but I think it's silly. Frank Warren, I know, was absolutely livid just because of, I'm guessing, Liam Williams, Eubank Jr., which we'll talk about. That's been rescheduled. But yeah, promoters weren't happy at all with what the British Boxing Board of Control have done, but at least it's only a month. So we're back in February, which is good, which is very, very good, because I think boxing had a great year last year, and I think it needs to kickstart itself again in this country especially. If not, look, if there's an issue in February, and look, we don't know what's going on with this COVID shit, do we? But if there's an issue in February, a lot of the big names will just go and fight in America. They'll just do that. We saw Daniel Dubois go to America and fight. Obviously, Tyson Fury's based himself out there. Dillian White will go and fight. Everyone will just go to America and fight because they've not stopped. So we don't want that. We don't want that at all. Demetrius Salita. Otto Volin is willing and ready to fight Tyson Fury, Dillian White. He's not going to get those fights, is he? Otto Volin versus Hughie Fury. Hughie Fury says he wants to fight a big name, and they've been talking about, you know, Hughie Fury has to take a step up. Otto Volin. I mean, it's a massive step up, that one, but I mean, these are the step ups that I think he needs to take. Like, I've always said that they've taken, like, the one, if you think about his losses, Joseph Parker, world title fight, that was a big step up. Alexander Usyk, Povetkin, and who else did he fight again? Kubrat. Who did he fight again? Was it Pulev? It was Pulev, wasn't it? I mean, there's no shame in those losses. All those guys at the time of fighting them were top 10 guys. Otto Volin, as good as he is not a top 10. I've always said that Hughie Fury fights guys in the top 10 and loses, and then he fights guys out of the top 25. 25 to 10 is what I'm looking at. Otto Volin falls in that 25 to 10 bracket, so I think it makes sense. Frank Sanchez, sticking with the heavyweight, says, I'll easily KO Tyson Fury. Alexander Usyk is even easier. He doesn't have technique. Obviously, look, he's trying to talk his way into a fight. You can't blame him, can you? I thought his fight against Christian Heyman was very, very boring. I think I spoke about it the other day, so I'm not going to get into it. But look, Frank Sanchez is a problem. He's a small heavyweight. He's not the biggest heavyweight in the world, but he clearly is a problem in the heavyweight division. He's going to have to work his way up to a mandatory spot to get Alexander Usyk or Tyson Fury. He's not going to fight Tyson Fury. Alexander Usyk, who knows? He might get Alexander Usyk. Sticking with the heavyweights, I saw this news a few hours ago. Lawrence Okolie, who, look, is clearly upset with what's going on with himself as a cruiserweight. He wanted the Bradis fight. It looked like that fight was going to happen. It looks like the Sauerlands were goading him, and he was like, yeah, you know. He even said he will go to Bradis' home country and fight Bradis. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. I can tell you what I think has happened. A lot of people have said things like Bradis is ducking Okolie. Bradis ain't going to duck Okolie. I mean, as much as I'm a massive fan of Lawrence Okolie, Bradis is a very, very good fighter. The only thing I can think of that's happened behind the scenes with why this fight hasn't moved further forward is you know, the Sauerlands have probably spoken to 258 management, Lawrence Okolie's management company, and maybe Eddie Hearn, and said, okay, look, you know, Bradis wants to do it, Lawrence wants to do it, let's talk figures. How much money's in the pot here? And I don't know how much money is in the pot. That's the simple thing. I don't know how much money is in the pot. I mean, if you're Bradis, and look, Lawrence Okolie is a big, big danger to Bradis. Big, strong, young, no miles on the clock whatsoever. He's a massive threat. So if you're Bradis and, you know, they work out the figures and they say, okay, look, 750,000's in the pot. Again, I'm not quite sure. Might be that, by the way. It might be less than that. Bradis is like, well, I could fight him and him, who are less dangerous, for 400 apiece and smash those. Why am I fighting him? for 750, 600? Like, do you know what I mean? It might be those kind of discussions that we don't know that go on behind the scenes as to why fights just fall away. We don't know. But look, Lawrence Okolie's spoken recently, and I think he kind of hinted on his social media that his next fight will be at heavyweight, which is very, very interesting. Obviously, a lot of people talk about the size of Lawrence Okolie. I've met him. He is massive. He's very, very lean. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say he's massive like fucking AJ massive. If he would, he'd be a heavyweight already. But he's a massive man. So I guess he was always going to make a jump to heavyweight. I didn't expect the jump to be this soon. Again, it's coming off the back of him not being able to get the fights he wants at cruiserweight. Let's not forget Makabu, another world champion, is going to fight Canelo. So the world champions that he could fight are maybe not available right now. If he is going to go to heavyweight, bear in mind that he is a cruiserweight world champion. It has to be a heavyweight of note. You know, it can't. I remember when Enzo Maccarinelli did this after Enzo lost to David Haye. Again, he was frustrated that he couldn't get a really good fight at cruiserweight. He had a fight at heavyweight. Do you guys remember this? If you're young, you probably don't remember, but you can go and check his box rec. But that was coming off a loss, and he wasn't a world champion. Lawrence Okolie's a world champion and is undefeated. So you can't just fight anyone at heavyweight. I feel like you've got to fight someone, or this is a pointless exercise. Everyone's excited by this. A lot of people have said what a lot of people have said, and they're like, yeah, even Sam Jones says, you're going to be a problem for most heavyweights. Well, I think a lot of heavyweights, I think he said. But I want to see him fight someone decent. Not a killer. I'm not saying that. You know, that would be silly because, I mean, as big as he is, all of them are big up there. So all his advantages at cruiserweight go when he's a heavyweight. All the heavyweights can punch. All the heavyweights are 6'3" and above. All the heavyweights are walking around at 16, 17 stone. They're all big guys. So Lawrence will just be a normal size guy up there. He's still a big heavyweight, but a normal size heavyweight. I wouldn't mind seeing him in against someone that lost on the weekend, who is a decent heavyweight, a good boxer, relatively known, floating around the top 35 maybe, and that guy's Christian Hamer. I wouldn't mind seeing a Christian Hamer, someone that will fight back a little bit. And we saw Christian Hamer go 10 rounds with Frank Sanchez. And yes, he lost the majority of the rounds, but he took that fight on 10 days' notice. Give Christian Hamer a decent camp and let him come and fight Lawrence Okolie. And I think Lawrence Okolie will make a bit of a statement if he can then sleep Christian Hamer. So look, I like it. I do think it's only going to be one fight for now, and then he'll come back down to cruiserweight, so I don't expect him to pile on the pounds. I think he'll come in quite light, have a fight, knock someone out, and go back down to cruiserweight when he can get the fights he wants. But I don't expect, this isn't the move to heavyweight. I know a lot of people maybe have looked at it like that. This isn't that. He will just have a fight, again, very reminiscent of what Enzo Maccarinelli did, and then go back down to his natural weight class. But I do think if he can't get the big fights he wants, this will be the last year for Lawrence Okolie as a cruiserweight. He will be a heavyweight next year, and he'll be an interesting addition to the heavyweight class, a very interesting addition, because look, he basically, he walks around as a heavy. He spars heavyweights all the time, and everyone talks about how good he is as a sparring partner. I mean, he sparred, I think, Tyson Fury in the lead up to the second Deontay Wilder fight, and Tyson Fury praised him as well. So he's clearly got something to offer in the heavyweight division. I just don't think this will be a permanent move yet. I don't think so at all. Top Rank tweeted out yesterday, what is your bold prediction for 2022? Just a random tweet. Teofimo Lopez responded to the tweet and says, I will become undisputed again, but at junior welterweight, hashtag the takeover. Again, listen to what he's saying here. Not I will go to junior welterweight, which we know. Not I will become a world champion at junior welterweight. I will become undisputed. Obviously, the undisputed champ right now is Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor's got a fight against Jack Catterall. Now, there has been a lot of, talk between these two. Both of them are signed to Top Rank, Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez. I like the fight. I love the fight. Would I have preferred the fight with Teo having beaten Kambosos and going up? Yeah. Sells the fight a bit more, right? Undisputed champ at 135, coming up to take on the undisputed champ at 140. I mean, that sells beautiful. But it still is a very, very big fight. And it's a fight I think Josh would take with open arms. I think Josh would welcome it. I really do. Josh wants that big fight in the States. This is a big fight in the States. By the way, I don't know how big a draw Teo is, by the way, but it's a big name in the States regardless. So look, I think Teo will have one fight at 140 just to test the waters. And then I think he will go for Josh Taylor. And I think the fight can be made. I really do. Again, he says, I will become undisputed. So that means he wants that one fight with Josh Taylor and he thinks he can beat him. You'd make Josh Taylor a favourite. You'd have to make him a favourite. But, I mean, Teofimo Lopez, that's a dangerous fight for Josh. And I wouldn't mind seeing Teofimo at 140. I mean, Teofimo clearly drains himself to make 135. I don't know why these guys do this to themselves, by the way. Kill themselves to make 135. It makes no sense. Devin Haney's got a problem with that as well. Devin Haney struggles to make that 135 limit. But I think, yeah, be interesting. Again, what is your bold prediction? Top Rank says, Teofimo Lopez, I will become undisputed again, but a junior welterweight. Is it a fight you'd like to see, Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez? I would, but again, it's a shame that Teo has that defeat, or that one defeat on his record now. It would have been so good, him coming up undefeated, taking on the undefeated Josh Taylor. But hey, still a big, big fight to be made for 2022. Ryan Garcia pleads for Isaac Cruz to sign contract. Golden Boy prefer a softer fight. Obviously, he's been out of the ring since that win against Luke Campbell. I think a couple of fights have fallen through. One because of mental health. The other, mental health, he was going through something. And the other one because of an injury. Looks like he's ready to get back on the horse, so to speak. And it's a weird one. You're taking on Isaac Cruz, who's coming off a loss to Gervonta Davis. A bit strange that, but Isaac Cruz did put up a good performance. And yeah, and I think he just wants to see if he can beat Isaac Cruz better than Gervonta Davis does. And then, again, he will try and call out Gervonta Davis. I don't know how much stock to put in these call-outs because I don't know how... I don't know if these fights can be made. I really don't. I mean, it's not going to be easy, is it? I think the one that can be made will be Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney because they're both with DAZN. But Gervonta Davis, Ryan... I mean, DAZN are going to want that desperately on their platform. And obviously, I mean, if you're PBC, then you want it on yours because it's a big pay-per-view event. So as much as they're calling each other out, I'm not quite sure. I mean, is the fight big enough that you put it on both platforms? No, not really. So we'll see what happens with Ryan Garcia and Gervonta in the future. Eubank Williams and Shields Kozin now rescheduled for February 5th in Cardiff. That's pretty good. That's only a week after it was supposed to happen. So there shouldn't be any halts to training camp or anything. That's actually very, very good news. I thought this was going to move to late February, maybe even early March. But to have it the following week, that's really good for everyone. So yeah, that's good. We don't have to wait long for that. I mean, Shields is not happy with her situation, so it's good that that's happening. I saw this. Luis Ortiz's manager said that Luis Ortiz won't accept the fight with Hrgovic because he's injured. No one wants to fight Hrgovic. I even saw something else today. Joseph Parker, this is according to Michael Benson on his Twitter page, Joseph Parker has also rejected the IBF final eliminator against Hrgovic. According to Hrgovic's team, this is. And they've said they will continue to go down the IBF rankings trying to find someone who will accept. If Joe Joyce is on those rankings, he will accept. But yeah, so far, Luis Ortiz has said no, and Joseph Parker has also said no. I saw this. The WBA, look, Trevor Bryan. Have you guys seen the WBA heavyweight rankings, by the way? Let me bring them up for you quickly, actually. WBA heavyweight rankings. Hopefully this is it properly, because is that W? Yeah. All right, what we got? All right, so obviously Alexander Usyk champion. They've got Trevor Bryan regular champion. Daniel Dubois ranked number 1. This is crazy, isn't it? Michael Hunter number 2. Hellenius number 3. Hughie Fury number 4. AJ, who just lost the belt, number 5. Deontay Wilder number 6. Cabiel 7. Ruiz number 8. Makhmudov, number 9. And the rest we don't really need to get onto. Their rankings are mad. Mad. So anyway, it doesn't make any sense. But Trevor Bryan is now going to have a voluntary title defense. Manuel Charr, remember him? He's been removed as champion in recess. It was supposed to be Manuel Charr, Trevor Bryan, but I'm happy that's now been thrown away. But they're saying that Trevor Bryan will now fight next after the voluntary defense, Daniel Dubois, for the WBA regular heavyweight title. The least we say about this nonsense, the better. Honestly, it's almost like, and I tweeted this, it's almost like the sanctioning bodies are just trying to outdo each other with stupidity. And so far, it's close between the WBC and the WBA. Joe Smith prioritizes Beterbiev or Bivol unification over shot at Canelo. It's for my legacy. I did read all of this statement, and he has said, look, he understands and he gets why people want the Canelo fight. It's a lot of money and it's life-changing money. But in terms of legacy, obviously he wants the world champions. Telling you now, and not saying I don't believe, actually I am saying I don't believe Joe Smith. If Canelo knocks on your door, Beterbiev knocks on your door, and Bivol, who's already fought, I believe, knocks on your door, he's taking Canelo. Come on. So you're trying to tell me you're not going to take the most money and the smaller guy? Come on. Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. I'll see this one. Well done. Chris Congo is back. We haven't seen Chris Congo since that defeat to Michael Mickinson. That was on the undercard of Dillian Whyte versus Povetkin in Gibraltar. He's now back. He has signed a deal with Boxer, and he's now going to be trained by Ben Davison as well. I like it. I like it. We'll see. Ben's getting a stable, man. Jesus Christ. Ben's stable, massive. A couple of last bits, people. Teddy Atlas. Joshua accepts defeat too easily, like a guy that's made too much money. Well, he has made a lot of money. Not too much. Never have too much, but he's made a lot of money. And look, I don't know. I've said this about Joshua as well, but everyone handles defeat differently. Everyone reacts to it differently as well. I mean, what we see in front of the cameras might be a guy that looks like he's handled it well, but behind the scenes, he might be going mad. Everyone deals with shit differently, so I don't know about that. We'll end on this one. Last bit. Josh Taylor, wishful thinking to fight 3 times in 2022, certainly twice. Why has that now become wishful thinking? Josh Taylor fights in February. Doesn't he? It's February, right? Why can't Josh Taylor fight again in August and then again in December? Am I asking, is that too much to ask? February, August, December. That's crazy. I don't know. All right, guys, anyway, let me go.